Okay, folks, I'm going to try to run through this pretty quickly, but um, it's probably going to take a little while. So I'm working with the Levitt Winery. This is the tutorial for charts and financial data. It's tutorial 4, and it covers pages, if you're looking at the PDF, pages 190 through like page 250 or something like that. Yeah, 250, 247. So if you're planning on working on the other assignment, I'm not going to go over that one. The review assignment, the one that requires you to complete the market analysis, I'm not going to cover that one. If you can do that one, that's great. Then you don't need to do the Levitt Winery. The Levitt Winery is the basics, and it sounds like there's several of you that are struggling a little bit to do this one, so I'm going to step through the whole thing. I'm on page 190 and 191, and the images on pages 190 and 191 kind of give you the basics for all the stuff that you're going to be completing in here. So I'm not going to put all that stuff up on the screen. You should be able to find page 190, 191, visual overview of chart elements. This is with regard to Excel 2013. You could complete this using Excel 2010 or 2016 or Office 365. There's just some adjustments that you're going to need to make. So I'm going to pause just. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so back with it here. So this is the tutorial 4. This is what this should be looking like. I'm going to flip over to the next page. Here's the images. Visual overview. You've got all this in your PDF. It gives you these little green boxes are going to really help you figure out where to go to do various different things. Okay, so I am on, this is page 192. There's nothing on there for you to complete. On page 193, this section here, which has, it's kind of a tan colored box background. These are the things that we're going to be working on. Okay. And I've got a book here next to me, so I'm not going to continually reference this, but I will tell you which page number I'm working on. So you should have downloaded the data files already. I shared those with you on Google Docs. You can right-click, choose download, bring that down to your computer, wherever it is you're working. And you can see I've got it here, Levitt.xlsx. I'm going to double click it. Boom. Okay. It's bringing me up enable editing yellow bar. You need to click that in order to be able to change this document. The reason for that is mostly for security purposes. So the first step in the book is open the Levitt Winery sheet, choose File, choose Save As, put this somewhere that you will remember where it is. So I'm going to look in my computer and I'm going to put it into a temp file somewhere. And I'm going to call this one the Levitt Winery. I'm going to give it my initials too, so mine won't look like anybody else's. I'm going to choose Save. I can see that I've got it saved up here at the top. MRH Levitt Winery. Here's the Levitt Winery documentation, overview, estimated production, cash flow. We want to be in the overview. So in the overview worksheet, there is a bunch of stuff that's in here. So there's column B, column C. In the overview worksheet in cell C5, so in cell C5, no, documentation. No, we want to be in the overview. In cell C5, we want to enter 310,000. 310. Whoop. 310,000, and then in cell C6, enter 8%. That's the annual interest rate. And then in cell C7, enter 12. That's the number of payments. And then in cell C8, we're going to enter our first formula. The first formula is going to be, we start it by typing equals C6 divided by C7. Once I press enter, that formula is accepted, and we're going to move on. Okay, so 0.67% interest rate per period. In cell C9, so we're in cell C9, enter the number 10 as the number of years. The total payments is going to be equals C7 times C9. C7 times C9, 120 NPER, which is 120. And moving on, I'm on page 194. I'm at the bottom, step 1, use the PMT function. Select cell C12, and on the ribbon, click the Formulas tab. So Formulas up here. In the Function Library group, click on Financial. So Financial. And then we're looking for the PMT function. So PMT is going to be this guy here. And with the insertion point in the rate box, click on cell C8. All right, so I'm in the rate box, okay? You can see it blinking right there. And they want us to click on cell C8. It automatically types that in there. So then I'm going to go to the NPER box, and I'm going to click cell C10. So cell C10, I could easily type it in here too. I'm going to go to the PV box. I'm going to click on cell C5. C5. Okay. And if you're looking at the image on page 194 at the bottom, yours should look like theirs. So that's your double check. Page 195. I'm at the top of page 195. Click OK. But before you do that, you can see here near the bottom, left-hand side of this box, formula result 3761.16. So it's kind of giving you what the answer is going to be before you do that. Click OK. And it shows up in parentheses because that's a negative number. So if you go to cell C13 and you type in equals, which means a formula, C7 times C12, and you press enter, you get another negative number, 45133.87. All right, so if you select cell C12, 3761.16, Carol wants to see what the financial impact is of taking out a smaller loan. So to do that, she's going to change cell C5 to become 250000, and then click off or enter, and you can see that the 250,000 does result in a slightly smaller payment. Return cell C5 to its original 310,000. C5 should be 310,000. So I'm on page 196 at this point. I'm going to save my work. Enter the loan repayment amount in the projected cash flow worksheet. So you've got different worksheets down here. This is the one they want you to work on now, projected cash flow. So go to cell C17. So I can type in C17, enter, and it'll take me directly to that cell, which is loan next to the loan repayment, and type in 45000 in cell C17. And they want us to copy the annual loan repayment in cell C17 into the range D17 through L17. So copy D17 through L17. So I'm going to go all the way over to L. I'm just going to paste it. So that's going to be the 45,000 that shows up. If you look at the image at the bottom of page 196, you should see that. You can see there's nothing to actually do on page 197, but it's giving you some information here that you should or might want to actually look through. I'm going to flip over to page 198. Select the data for this data source for a chart showing the projected production. So go to the Overview worksheet. Select the range B28 through C34. So B28 through C34. So if I come here, B28 through C34. So this gives me the wine production and then all the stuff that's beneath it. And the range is B28 through C34. Look in your book on page 198 because it gives you that range as an image, and it's pretty handy. You can look on page 199 and see that there's different types of charts. This might be a handy thing for you. If this is really over your head, I would recommend just getting through it at this point, and then you can go back. If you're comfortable with this stuff, though, look, you've got column lines, pies, bars, areas, stock, surface, radars, combos, all kinds of different charts. And on page 200, you'll see that as well. So if I go to page 200, you'll see here's the graphical representation of these different charts. And so some of them are pretty cool, but I would caution you about becoming clever, because sometimes that can be a bad thing. So I'm on page 200, bottom of page 200, and you'll see, make sure the pie range, or I'm sorry, the chart range B28 through C34 is still selected. I've still got mine selected here. There's a quick analysis tool that shows up here. So I'm on B28 through C34. The quick analysis tool shows up. If you're using 2010, this might not work. If that's the case, you should contact me soon, because I do have and could help you with getting this installed 2013 or 2016. These quick analyses are going to kind of hurt you in the long run. So if I click on the quick analysis, it's going to give me access to a bunch of different types of things. In this particular case, we're interested in charts. In the charts, we're specifically looking at the pie charts. So if I just hover over top of this thing, you can see that it shows me what these things are actually going to look like. And there's a pie chart. So if we click on pie, it just puts the thing like right in there for you. It's not in the right spot. We can move that. But you can see that it's got the Chardonnay, the Riesling, the Pinot Grigio, the Pinot Noir, and the Cabernet Franc and Ruby Cabernet. It lists them all right down there at the bottom, and you can see that in the image at the bottom of page 201. It's not quite in the same spot, mostly because I have a small monitor, and my screen is in a slightly different position. Moving over, page 202. So on page 202, we can move and resize the wine production pie chart. So we can stick this somewhere else. So move the pointer over an empty area of the chart until the pointer looks like, and it's got arrows going 4 different directions. Hold down the Alt key. So I'm not touching anything. I'm going to press down the Alt key. I'm going to hold that. Then I'm going to click in the empty area, and I'm going to drag the chart until its left upper corner snaps into the upper left corner of cell B16. So I need to go up. B16. B16. Something like that. Okay, so I've got it kind of where it belongs. Okay, so we need to move the sizing handle in the lower right-hand corner of the box so it turns into an arrow pointing upward at a 45 and downward at a 45-degree angle. We're going to change that. We're going to press down the Alt key, and we're going to drag the handle until it gets up into the corner of cell D27. So something like that. And you kind of see it pretty much fits in there. So it's not covering anything up, and it looks pretty decent. So by putting in the Alt, pressing down the Alt key, you don't have to do that, but it helps it to figure out where the edges and borders of the cells are at. If you don't do it, it's going to overlap or be in the middle of cells, which is fine. It doesn't really matter. But this does make it a little easier when you're dragging those things around. So just double check your graph or your chart on page 203. It should look like, the image on page 203 should look like your spreadsheet. So you can see that my wine production goal, 10-year production, pretty much line up with the size of that chart. I'm at the bottom of page 203 now, and I'm in step 1 in the tan box. Okay, so if you're confused, I'm over here. So we did all that. We did all that, and I'm on the bottom of this page. Okay. So we're going to remove the pie chart title and add data labels to the slices. Okay. So click the pie chart one time to select it. You can see there's a few things that show up here. I can also see that there's a dot, 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 dot. Lots of dots all over the place. To the right of the selected chart, click the chart elements. So that's the little plus sign that shows up here. So if you click that, there's a few different things that show up here. So click on the chart title box and deselect it. And you can see that that title goes away. And then if you just point to the data labels, don't click it, but there's a little arrow that shows up to the right of it. And if I hover over top of it, it actually puts some numbers inside there. If I move off of it, they're gone. If I move, kind of gives you a preview of what it's going to do. So we want to click the little checkbox next to the data labels to select it, because we want to put those actual numbers in there. And if you look on top of page 204, you should see basically the same thing that they have in their image, figure 411. Bottom of page 204, choose a different style chart for the wine production pie chart. So click on the chart styles. So the styles is a little paintbrush thing. So if you click on that, it's going to give you some different styles. Now, I'm not particularly picky about this, but you can go down and you can look at all the different ones that are here. They're suggesting that you choose style 12, which should be the last one in that list if you're using this version of it. It gives it a little bit of relief, almost 3D. You can see there's a little shadow, drop shadow down at the bottom left. Again, I don't really care which chart you pick. Make it look similar. If you pick something else, I don't really care. We're going to format the legend now. So click on the chart elements button again, so the plus sign. We want to format the chart elements. So point to the legend, and there's a little arrow that points to the right there. If you click on that little right arrow, we want to choose left instead of bottom. And when we click on that, it actually moves it. Oh, they're suggesting we see what it looks like on the right. Okay, so move it to the right. I don't really care again where you put it. I just want to make sure that you know how to move it. So if it's left or right, whatever. Have it somewhere besides the bottom, and then I know that you know how to do this. Format the chart legend. I'm on page 206. Okay, so page 206. Let me just flip to page 206. It's going to look something like this. All right, 206. Format the chart legend. There's several different steps there. Okay. On the chart elements menu, click the right arrow. Next to the legend. Okay, so arrow next to the legend. Click on the More Options button. All right, so this thing shows up over here. Click the Fill and Line button near the top of the Format pane. Fill and line. Okay. And if you click that, we want to click Fill to display the fill options. And we want to choose Solid Fill. And then we want to click on the Fill Color, which is right here. If you click on the Fill Color, they're suggesting gold accent for lighter 60% theme, which is located 3rd row, 8th column. 3rd row, 8th column. Okay. 3rd row, 8th column. Okay. I don't care what you pick. Just pick something. Make it look so it's halfway readable, and I'm good with that. Click the border button. Okay, so there's a border button there. And I want you to click, or on step 6, border button, click solid line. Okay, so solid line. Click on the outline color. If you click on that, click on gray 50%, accent 3, lighter 80%, 2nd row, 7th column. 2nd row, 7th column. Again, I don't really care. At the top of the Format Legend pane, click the Effects button. So that's the Effects button. Click the Shadow button. And so there's a bunch of little things that show up there. Click Shadow to display the presets. Okay, so there's then next to the presets label, click this shadow. Oof. Words. Click the offset diagonal bottom right. Offset diagonal bottom right, 1st row, 1st column. Okay, right there. And it does what's called a drop shadow effect. Okay, it gives relief and a dimension besides flat on your page. Kind of lifts it off the page a little bit. I'm going to save my work. Control S, as in Sam. Control S. You can click up here too. Save your work. At the top of the Format pane, click on the Legend Options arrow. So it's right here. Legend Options arrow. It displays a menu of the chart elements. And then click Series Production Goal Cases. Data labels. Okay, the last one. So there's 2 of them. You want the data labels. So pick that one. Click the Label Options button near the top of the pane. Label Options button near the top of the pane displays the options for the label contents. Click on Percentage. Okay. Then click the Value checkbox to deselect it. Click on the outside end. Okay. I'm going to move you up there. Outside end. Move the data labels outside of the pie so they stand out just a little bit better. Scroll down to the Format pane. Click on Number. Shows the formatting options for the numbers. Scroll down and click on Category. Okay, Category, it says General. We want to make that percentage. Okay, so we've got percentage. And in the decimal places box, replace the 2 with the number 1, and then press the Enter key. Ba-boom. Okay. So then, if you flip over to page 208, next page, so I'm on page 208, figure 414, yours should look something similar to what they have in that figure. It looks a little bit better than the default settings for a chart, but keep in mind what you're trying to do. In this particular case, we're not only trying to make a chart, we're trying to make it look like a pretty good chart. All right, so 208, bottom of page 208, setting pie slice colors. To change the color of the Cabernet Franc pie slice, click on any pie slice one time, which selects all of the pie slices. Then click on the Cabernet Franc slice, which is the darker blue. And now I've got one slice of the pie, and I can see that there's only 1 dot, 2 dot, 3 dots selected. That slice. Click the Home tab. Click the Fill Color button arrow. Fill Color button arrow to the right of it. Okay. You want the arrow, not the button, because that's just going to make it red, because that was the last thing we did. We want to click green accent 6 lighter 40% theme color, 4th row, last column in the gallery. 1, 2, 3, 4. Doesn't really matter. Okay? It doesn't really matter. I'm too concerned that you pick the right color there. Pick a color, stick with it. 209. Okay. Page 209. We're going to change the chart area of the pie chart to light gold. Okay. Chart area. So that's that white stuff in the background there. It's kind of stark at this point. So click the blank area within the chart, not containing a pie slice. So if you have any dots around your pie, that's wrong. And if you have any dots around these numbers, that's wrong. So find a blank spot, click it on the Home tab in the font group. This is the font group. Click the Fill Color button arrow, and click on Gold Accent 4 Lighter 80% Theme, 2nd row, 8th column. 2nd row, 8th column. Gold Accent 4 Lighter 80%. Guess that's it. Close enough. Looks good to me, and I like it. So I've got my background of the chart set up. I've got the background of the data labels set up. I've got little relief set up. I've got my data values changed to percentages. I changed a color just so I knew how to do it, and things are looking pretty good. So we're pretty much done with that thing, which is kind of cool. All right, so over here, move my little picture around. So we can click this little X over here to get rid of formatting the shape. And so that just gives us a little bit more real estate to work with here in our sheet. So down here at the bottom, you've got these little sliders that allow you to magnify your spreadsheet if you're having a hard time. My monitors are pretty small, so I kind of have to keep it a little bit small. All right, so what if analysis? What if analysis is checking your work, basically. That's what you want to do. You want to see what things look like with a different value. So in cell C29, so I'm going to go to cell C29. I can type it in here, C29, enter. It takes me directly to cell C29. And if I change 3,500 to 5,500 and press enter, you can see that my pie chart actually changes right with it. If I make it 1,000 or 15,500, look at that. Okay, I'm going to undo that, undo it again. I want to get back to 3,500 because we do, whatever. Step number 3, page 210. Cell C30, change the production goal from Riesling to from 2,000 to 4,000. You should be able to do this and figure this out. But you can kind of see this chart just changing before your very eyes. You can also change this Riesling. So I'm on step 5 at the bottom of page 210. From Riesling to white Riesling, and you'll notice here that your chart actually changes right along with it, which is kind of cool. So we're going to filter this chart at this point. This is a skill that you pretty much need to be able to have if you're going to be working with any type of business. We want to click on the pie chart to select it. All right, so I've got it selected. And I want to click the chart filters. So it looks like a little funnel there. And if I hover over top of it long enough, it changes to filters. Once I click on that, and I click the Pinot Noir Cabernet Franc and Ruby Cabernet checkboxes to deselect them. Okay, so deselect Pinot Noir, we'll deselect Cabernet Franc, and we'll deselect the Ruby. And at the bottom of the chart filters menu, click Apply. Shabam! Okay, so we just filtered a chart, which is kind of neat. Now the problem with it is there's still values that are there, and it might actually confuse you because this chart shows 100%, but when in fact it's the estimated production only of those three things. So you have to be careful about that. So we want to actually select all of these and select all 6 of them and choose Apply. And then I'm going to press Escape. You don't use this Escape key very often, but that'll get you out of that particular box. I would be very careful of filtering charts unless you're doing it just for your own purposes. If you're going to distribute a filtered chart, that's sketchy. So be careful. It's a little bit like percentages. Sometimes I think percentages can be tricky for people, and if you do that too often, people will lose faith in you, because you can make data look however you want to, but if somebody asks the right questions, you're probably going to need to give them the actual data. So page 213, create a column chart for revenue and expense data. So go to the projected cash flow worksheet. Select the non-adjacent range. This is a long one, but stick with it. B4. So we want to go from B4, I'm in projected cash flow, all the way to L4. Okay. And that's one. Okay, I've got it highlighted. The way that you get the second part is you press the control key down, and now you want to click on cell B10. B10 all the way over to L10. I've still got my control key down, and I want to choose B18 through L18. B18 through L18. Now I can let go. I still got those 3 things selected though. So that's how you do a non-adjacent range selection. Alright, so this is step 2. Select that non-adjacent range. Blah, blah, blah. In the ribbon, click the Insert tab. So I've got my Insert tab. In the Charts group, so we're looking for the Charts group, we want to click on Recommended Charts. So Recommended Charts is here. It's trying to figure out, based upon your selections, which things make sense. It might not be right, but these are the things that you could do. Make sure the clustered column chart is selected. So I can see the clustered column is selected, and then click the OK button. Well, that wasn't very helpful, was it? It put it like right smack dab in the middle of everything. Well, that stinks. Okay, so we're going to have to fix that. So we're going to have to click the Chart Styles button next to it. Okay, so click that Chart Styles button that's right next to it. And in the Style group, we want to pick on Style 14. So 14 is the last one in the list. So let's choose that. And I'm going to click on the little chart styles and it'll minimize that whole thing. I'm on page 214. Moving a chart to a different worksheet because it's messed up right now. So make sure the cluster column chart is selected, and it is. I can see dot, 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 so on and so forth. If you're confused, you can click in a blank spot in the chart area. But be really careful, because if you've selected portions of the chart itself like this, then you just screwed it up. So you want to have the whole chart selected, so click, and you can see it actually says chart area. When I click that, I know that I've got the whole thing and not any individual piece of it. At the top, you can see that I've got these Chart Tools, Design, and Format tabs that show up. These normally don't show unless you're working with a chart and you have it selected. we want to go to the Design tab, and we want to move the chart. So you can see that there's a Move Chart right here. So if we click that button, it's going to allow us to move it to a different worksheet and get it off this page where it doesn't belong. So we want to click Object In arrow on the right hand side, and we want to click on the Overview because that's where we put the other one and that's where we would like this one to go. Click the OK button. It automatically takes you over to that new sheet, or that other sheet that we were working with before. Again, it puts it in the wrong place, of course, but it's the right chart. So we want to drag this guy down, and we want the lower right-hand corner of M29. Well, we'll just see where it goes. The chart should cover F16 through M29. I'm going to press down the Alt key, F16 through M29. Okay, so something like that. F16, and then we want that guy to go up to M29. Press the Alt key, and we'll go maybe something like that. Okay. Something like that. We can readjust it as we go. So it's basically covering from F16 all the way down to M29. Again, this doesn't have to be perfect. If you look on page 215, there's kind of an image there. We want to change the chart title though. So at the top of the column chart, click on the chart title. So that's selected, okay? And type projected revenue and expenses. Whoops. Projected revenue and expenses. Okay. Whoops. No enter. We'll click somewhere else. Okay, so I've got that in there. We want to change this text now. And on step 3 on page 215, it says to click the Home tab in the ribbon at the top, and then click on, so we want to change the font color here. So here's font color. Mine's red A, red underlined A, and they want us to choose and blue accent 1 theme color. The blue accent 1 theme color. Okay. I'm not sure that's right, but they want us to also remove the bold text. So I click, you can use Control B as in boy, or you can click up here and it'll unselect it. They also want us to change this to from Calibri bold to Calibri light. So you can see it's just a little bit less less bold. Okay. Create stack column chart, bottom of page 215. So go to the projected cash flow worksheet and then select the non-adjacent range. So projected cash flow worksheet B4 through L4. So B4 through L4. And then I'm going to press the Control key down, B13 through L17. Okay, make sure that's correct. Projected cash flow B4 through L4, and then B13 through L17. Ooh, B4 through L4. B13 through L17. Okay, we need to get a few more here. So I need to go all the way down and get the grapes, labor, maintenance, miscellaneous, and loan repayment. Okay. So that takes me all the way down to 17. So I've got basically row 4, and then rows 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so again, the way I did that was I highlight that, okay? I'm not touching anything. I press down the control key. I click on grapes, and then I'm clicking, holding, and dragging that going all the way across. So I get the years, and then I get the essential expenses there. So we want to click the Insert tab in the ribbon, and we want to click on the Insert Column Chart button. So if you hover over these different charts here, and this first one at the top, the little one next to recommended charts, says Insert a Column Chart. If we click on that, we want to click on the Stacked Column Chart. So step 3 says it's the second icon in the 2D. Okay, so that's stacked column. If you pick this one, it says 100% stacked. We don't want that. We want the middle one, which is just stacked. If you pick something else, it might not actually work so good. So, again, we've got this thing in the wrong place on the wrong sheet, but that's okay, because that's where the data is. We want people to be able to get to the data, but you need the data to make the chart. So we'll push the chart somewhere else. So with the chart still selected, okay. If I click on chart area in this chart, we want to click on the styles, and then we want to click on style 11. That last one, style 11, yes it is. Okay, so we've got style 11, and then on the Chart Tools Design tab, here's the Design tab, we want to move the chart, and you guessed it, we want to send it to the overview, and we're going to click OK. And it moved it over into our overview, and it's in the wrong place. So move and resize the stack column chart so it covers the range F31. So let's make it go down to F31. So basically, kind of beneath it, I'm going to F31. Okay, so something like that. I'll move it over a little tiny bit, and then we want that to go all the way over to M43. So I'm going to get the lower right corner and just kind of line that up there. And I'm going to press the Alt key down so it snaps to the grid. That's probably a little better. Yeah, so it looks like those two things are actually lining up now. You can kind of see that right there. But now we've got this generic chart here, and so I need to futz with this a little bit. Alright, so we've got chart title. We need to fix this. And we want to click on chart title, and we want to make that breakdown of business expenses. Breakdown of business expenses. Okay, so that's what that's going to look like. And with the chart title still selected, okay, we want to change the font style to non-bold blue accent 1 Calibri light font to match the clustered column chart. So we want that to be the same as this one up here. I wonder if I save this, click on Format Painter, and click on that. Ooh, I didn't have to do all that mumbo jumbo. Format Painter, it's your friend. Okay, so let me show you what I just did here. I clicked on this chart title one time. I went over, I clicked on Format Painter, and you can see that I've got a paintbrush looking thing going on. And if I click on that title there, it carries all that font and formatting that we did with it. All right. Okay, so that's the first section of tutorial 4. So we've done quite a bit. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to create part 2 for you.